Your Excellencies, fathers, sisters, friends, um, and this is a very unique meeting. We are gathered here, and perhaps uh, we are part of the struggle, which is supposed to be the one of the longest in the history of India. Still yet to see the results. And here, the All India Catholic Union, which pioneered the whole Dalit Christian struggle in 1950s, um, did a lot of things in this regard before any group or any uh, individual could take up the issue. Saying so, we are in a very peculiar situation where on one side we have the pandemic, on the other hand we have a lot of people's movement trying to raise their voice for their rights, whether it's farmers, whether it is Dalits, and today we have come across cases of pride killing. Saying so, I call upon the national president who was kind enough to uh, take the risk or the pain of organizing this webinar, um, to welcome all the participants and with a short introduction. Dear Mr. President, please, it's you now.
Yeah. Greetings to you all from All India Catholic Union. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Your Grace, Archbishop Anil Cuto, Archbishop of Delhi and the Secretary of CCBI, Bishop Chandra Nayak, Bishop of Berhampur, and CBCI Chairman for SST Commissions, respected speakers, Advocate P.I. Jose, Advocate Franklin Caesar, Sister Advocate Anastasia Gill, Mrs. Manohari Arokyadas, and our own dear John Dayal, respected priests, nuns, and my dear lay leaders, AICU members, BCS President Advocate Raphael, and all the members, coordinator of this program, Alphonse Kennedy, and all participants, our own POBs, and participants from north, south, east, west corners of India. Welcome to you all to the series of webinars that AICU has launched in collaboration with its state affiliates such as Bombay Catholic Sabha and others. This is our efforts to overcome the influences imposed on organization and movement such as ours by the COVID pandemic. In fact, the AICU has decided to use the new opportunities provided by virtual meeting and conventions over the internet to intensify mobilization, information sharing, and training of our people on issues of contemporary concerns, the teaching of the Vatican, and the priorities of the national and universal church. This disempowerment of Dalit Christians by succeeding the government has been done by the amputation of the constitutions to remove empowering clauses. This was the case with the Presidential Order of 1950, which became Part 3 of 341. This is effect of communalizing the constitution, punishing both Christian and Muslims, Sikh and Buddhist, kept out of at first, were soon extended the benefits. The All India Catholic Union, which last year celebrated its centenary and is the oldest such movement in Asia, has been in the forefront of the struggle since 1950 and is, with CBCI and others, in appealing before the Supreme Court of India, which has to name the constitutional bench to hear the appeals, which hope the appeals will be taken up soon. There are many misunderstandings among the people of India and also among Catholics, especially in the states of Kerala and Karnataka and of the Northeast, to the persistence of caste and discrimination. In India, society in general, and about discriminatory law, and about political rights in particular. I hope this webinar will be useful to us as a community as a people and as a citizens whose rights are safeguarded by the constitutions of India, which was treated by Dr. Ambedkar. There will be a safeguarded only if we vigilant. My gratitude to the bishops whose presence shows that the hierarchy shares our concerns. My thanks to Bombay Catholic Sabha and all the speakers. God bless us all. God bless AICU.
Uh, thanks, Mr. President. Uh, your introduction was uh, so nice. And now, on behalf of AICU and all the participants, I request Archbishop Anil Cuto, the Archbishop of Delhi, and the Secretary of CCBI to inaugurate open this meeting with an inaugural speech and the opening prayer. And while I say this, I take pride in calling upon him, for it's not only he represents the Catholic Church, he also represents the struggling community of all over India. Any small incident that happens in any corner of India, he is there to respond and take the issue. Please, on your behalf, I request Archbishop, please inaugurate this session with your inaugural address and a short prayer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Alphonse Kennedy, for this invitation. I thank, first and foremost, Dr. John Dayal, who called me up 2-3 days ago to be part of this webinar this evening on this issue. Thank you. And I just participated in Delhi. Now I'm in Gurgaon because today Archbishop Vincent Kossasau, our Emeritus Archbishop, who was fully part of this struggle, celebrates his 84th birthday today. So I'm here with him at Gurgaon where he stays, but he won't be able to participate in this meeting. But in Delhi, I participated in a meeting for the empowerment of the girl child. That was an interfaith meeting webinar. So I'm so glad, and I thank you for this invitation. Mr. Lency de Cunha, our president, has already placed before us so beautifully why we are having this meeting. What is the objective? This whole struggle of 70 years, which is not only of the church but of the society at large, which is totally the denial of the rights to the Christians of Dalit origin is so unconstitutional. It communalizes the constitution, and that has been the trend, and we have experienced this all the more during the last the regime from 2014 onwards. But we have to go on, and we should not lose courage. This particular government is overtly against this, but we know that the Congress government ruling for so long, for so many decades, has not also, when they could have done it, did not do it. So covertly, they are also very much culpable. We have struggled. So many of us have even courted arrest on different occasions, and our struggle will go on. It is not just a struggle of only the AICU as a Catholic Union or of any other organization. It is all of us, people of goodwill, and all Christians together, irrespective of our belongingness, our denomination, our church affiliation. We are all to be one on one platform. And we have to ensure, and this has been my biggest difficulty in Delhi, in the Archdiocese of Delhi, not only now as Archbishop, but earlier also as Auxiliary Bishop, that everyone does not put his or his weight behind this cause. I'm talking of our Christians. I'm talking of especially of our Catholics. They consider that as somebody else's. If I'm not a Dalit myself, it is somebody else's lookout. It's somebody else's cause, and I did not waste my time on that. So despite announcing in the churches, despite trying to do our best to galvanize people, to mobilize people to come, to motivate for occasions when we had to do a dharna, had to do a protest, it has become very, very difficult because it has not yet been, totally considered by people, seized by them as their own struggle, even though maybe I'm not a Dalit myself, but it is of, it pertains to the whole church, and it is my struggle, and I have to be fully part of it, even risking my life, my time, my whatever. But this has not happened. I also notice another attitude on the part of maybe people belonging to the Dalit community, Christians, but who have come up, who have gone up the social ladder, who have gone up socially, and they also think, why should we be part of it? We have gone out of it. We have freed. We need not go back to it, and we should not soil our hands with this. We should not burden ourselves with that. I have seen that with all middle class, upper middle class Christians who may be belonging to the Dalit community, but don't care at all about the issue. So it is a struggle for all of us, and it comes from the gospel. It is nothing which is outside our faith. Our faith is the motivating factor. The teachings of our Lord is what is leading us into this struggle. And our Lord says, never give up. Never give up the struggle. It may not be achieved in our time, but certainly a day will come when the Lord will give us the fulfillment of all our goals, of all that we have suffered for and struggled for and sacrificed our life for. So with these words, I would like to make a short prayer inaugurating our webinar today, asking the Lord to be with us and to guide us. Almighty Father, we thank you for one more attempt on the part of so many leaders of your church today to be on this platform, to share with one another their views on this issue that has been troubling us for the last over 70 years. We are sad that so many of our brothers and sisters are not granted the same privileges by this government, by successive governments within the public sector as others belonging to other faiths. We know that there is a discrimination against us, and we know that it's all very well planned, strategized, and we are victimized. But we trust in your love for us, in your providence. We trust in the words of your Son and our Lord Jesus Christ, who has called us to follow him in the struggle to bring peace and justice and freedom in our society. And we will never hesitate. We will never lose courage. We know that your spirit is with us, the spirit of the Father and the Son, the spirit of love, always inspiring us and goading us to go ahead. Over the years, you have purified our intentions. You have helped us to know which road we have to go to, we have to walk on. You have opened the roadmap for us. And we are at this juncture, at this moment in 2020, on this 28th September 2020. We pray that at this particular moment, we may know what steps we need to take to go ahead so that this struggle for freedom may be achieved by your grace, by your almighty power. And we submit ourselves to your providence, and we promise that we will never give up the struggle, whatever be the cost. We make this prayer through the great and precious name of your Son and our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen.
Your Grace, while opening this meeting, you have opened our hearts and minds. Thanks a lot. And we assure you that we'll take your guidance, we'll take your support, and we also do the best for the greater glory of God. Saying so, I call upon, I request the Bishop Sarat Chandra Nayak, the chairperson of SST Commission for CBCI, to give us the keynote address. And bishops, we are so glad that the church is with us today to stand by us, to stand by the struggles of the people. So I call upon all the participants to give a good hearing to chairperson Bishop Sarat Chandra Nayak. Yeah, please, Bishop.
Thank you, sir, for the introduction. Dear Mr. Lancy Dicona, National President, AICU, Most Reverend Archbishop Anil Cuto, respected panelists, and my dear participants and friends. First of all, I thank you, organizers, especially Mr. Dicona and Mr. John Dayal, for inviting me to be part of this August virtual gathering. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 19:12, Jesus says, there are eunuchs who have been so from birth, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. I think in a similar way, one can say there are Dalits who are born Dalits. There are Dalits who have been made by men. And there are Dalits who have made themselves Dalits for the sake of Dalits. French philosopher Victor Cousin was the first proponent of the concept art for art's sake. True art is divorced from any didactic, moral, political, or utilitarian function. So also making oneself a Dalit for the sake of Dalits. There are many present here from the third category. We heard Archbishop, dear Archbishop Anil Cuto, expressing that solidarity with the Dalits, making himself Dalit. I'm sure there are many present here who are not Dalits, but they are with the Dalits. Thank you for your solidarity. It is a Christian witness for Christ came for the outcast. The true and authentic church, beloved Pope Francis says, is the church of the poor. And there is nobody poorer than Dalit Christians who suffer the triple discrimination socially, constitutionally, and ecclesiastically. Dalits are the late entrants to Christianity in India. The word of Jesus is true and prophetic. The last will be the first. Dalit Christians are the first in terms of number, about 65% of the total Christian population in India. Though the Christianity came to India in the very first century, in the person of none other than St. Thomas, one of the 12 apostles of Christ, it remained entrenched in one particular social group until the 16th century, when the Portuguese missionaries came to India. Can there be a caste angle to it? The church in North India mostly includes the tribals, Dalits, and few OBC Christians. The undivided Bihar, MP, Odisha, and the northeastern states hold the majority of Christian population today. And the growing number of vocations to priesthood and consecrated life are from these regions. Yes, the struggle of Dalit Christians continues, both outside the church and sadly inside the church too. Outside the church, they suffer the dehumanizing caste system in the society, as well as the exclusion and discrimination by the Presidential Order of 1950, depriving them of all affirmative actions that the other Dalits enjoy. The suffering servant of Isaiah in chapter 42, 3-4, we read, a bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench. He will faithfully bring forth justice. He will not grow faint or be discouraged till he has established justice in the earth. Let the little light of the Dalit Christians enlighten the streets of the parliament, and the tottering sound of the brokenness of Dalits be heard amidst the sound of the ordering hammer of the Supreme Court. 17 million Dalit Christians are suffering the glaring injustice for a long 70 years. PIL is challenging the constitutional validity of the discriminatory presidential order is lying in the Supreme Court for the past 17 years. Is it not a serious matter needing an urgent judgment? Please, Honorable Supreme Court, give us justice. The long struggle of Dalit Christians in the church is for the God-given dignity, equality, and fulfillment of our own mission, not for the power, but for participation, not for control, but to contribute. Dalit Christians can contribute to the church for the kingdom of God, for the humanity. It's not for quota, but quality of human life and Christian living, not for retributive justice, but for distributive justice. Dalit Christians demand for rights and dignities, for leadership and participation. It is not because they are majority in the church. We know that church is not a democratic society or institution, but because they are Dalits, the outcast, people for whom Christ came. He comes, and he comes, and he ever comes. As Kavi Guru Rabindranath, the Nobel Prize laureate, would say. Dear friends, the struggle of Dalit Christians, both within the church and outside the church, must continue with added determination and hope, because our mission is the mission of the church, and our goals are the goals of India as a nation, which are enshrined in the preamble of our Constitution: justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Thank you all.
We are really overwhelmed by your clarity of the issue. You are opened up so many things. Even though your talk was very short, it really said what it means. That particularly the difference between control and contribution, position and participation. Your Grace, you have welcomed us to participate, to contribute. Definitely will do it. And dear friends, we do have a lot of people who have contributed to this cause for so many years. It could be Brother John Dayal, it could be Sliva Galilee, it could be Hartman, it could be so many others. Now I call upon Sister Advocate P.I. Jose, and to introduce him, he is a very committed, not only an advocate, but also a person who has got heart for the marginalized, and he's also the co-founder of Adivasi, OBC, Dalit, and economically deprived communities organization, which takes up the issues of the deprived people. Now I call upon Advocate P.I. Jose, who's also pleaded on behalf of AICU before the Honorable Supreme Court. Dear Advocate, please come in and register your words. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ms. Kennedy, for inviting me to this program. Special thanks to Lancy D. Pune, President, AICU, respected Archbishop Anil Cuto, Bishop Nayak, and all other friends here. I am asked to speak on the legal stand that we have taken in the Supreme Court on behalf of IQ in the writ petition that we have filed. IQ's writ petition is little different from the number of petitions which is already pending, which were already pending and which were filed late thereafter also. The basic argument we have taken, in addition to supporting all other arguments based on Article 14 of the Constitution, IQ take the additional ground based on Article 25, freedom of religion. You all are aware of Article 25. It gives freedom of conscience, freedom to profess, practice and propagate a religion of one's choice. Now, the argument that we have taken is, by the 1950 presidential order, para 3, which excludes people practicing religion other than Hindu religion, exclude Christians or for that matter any minorities, unless it is covered under the proviso to Article 25. Article 25 permits the state to restrict the freedom to the extent it is against Indian morality or other similar secular freedoms of other citizens. Now, the argument that we have extended is that the Supreme Court, in the case of KP Manu and other judgments, has stated that if a Dalit or a person of SC origin converts to a non-Hindu religion and converts back to Hindu religion, he is entitled to the benefit to be included in the SC category, which means a person who is converting from any minority religion or non-Hindu religion back to Hindu religion will get the benefit of SC status, whereas a person who is converting from from Hindu religion to any other non-Hindu religion lose the status of a SC person. This, in fact, is not merely discrimination, but it is state patronizing of a religion, which is against the principle of secularism and basic structure of the Constitution as held in several judgments of the Supreme Court. We further point out to the Supreme Court that this particular provision in para 3 of the presidential order is read to exclude all Christians. It will create or promote the kind of violent practices of fanatics in Karwapasi and other similar violent activities. We have not narrated in detail but pointed to the certain reports and judicial commission reports that has been rendered over a period of 40 years, that this country was facing communal violences against minorities repeatedly. So the basic point that we wanted to put up before the Supreme Court was that, like Archbishop Anil Cuto mentioned, people who are not belonging to SC community do not put their weight to this. It is not going to help even non-SC community, or rather the consequences of this kind of discriminative practices by the state itself can result into perpetuation of violence or disharmony between communities, and which certainly is going to be affected whether you belong to SC community or non-SC community. Now, there is one more aspect that we have pointed out in relation to this very argument, and that was, while Constitution Assembly debates were going on, some of the participant, Mr. K.V. Kamath, had pointed out that state identifying with any religion or state favoring any religion can only lead to problems or disharmony or disputes in the society. And he had pointed out the example of how Buddhism has gone out of this country. He had made a statement in the Constitution Assembly debates that because Ashoka has favored favored Buddhist religion, the Hindu religious people or the then Sanatana religious people had a recourse, violent recourse, which resulted into the downward, separation of Buddhist in India. So what we actually tell the Supreme Court by raising this argument is that whether SC community is given a benefit or not is not an issue exclusively affecting the SC community, but it affects the entire state. The India as a republic will lose its moral standing. It needs to be a secular state to be a modern republic that gives equal treatment to every citizen and thereby giving justice and equality to every citizen. This is the basic argument that we have taken in addition to and apart from supporting other arguments. So I'll not deal with other arguments because we have other panelists, including Franklin, to speak hereafter. So I conclude with a thanks to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Advocate P.I. Jose, for the wonderful insight about the case in the Honorable Supreme Court. And you have well illustrated that about the state patronizing a particular religion wherein the rights of the individuals are violated. Thanks a lot, Bishop, Mr. Advocate. And at the same time, now I call upon Advocate Franklin Caesar. Dear friends, here I introduce a very unique person. It was in 2004 that I came to know that a case is being filed in the Supreme Court and the advocate was in Bangalore. I tried to meet him. It was in the middle of the night. I saw him just then starting to have his dinner, and his dinner was bread sandwich with dates. The moment I saw him, one thing that struck me was it looked as if I am meeting John the Baptist. Such was his commitment. He has put his all his done everything into the issue, and I'm very happy to see right from the beginning uh, Danam sir, next IS officer, who was former president of NCDC, and others. And I also happy to see Reverend Father Vijay, the CBCI secretary for SCST Commission. Now I call upon Franklin, Advocate Franklin, sir, please come in and do enlighten us. Thank you.
I'm pleased to present you all the authority unit. Most Reverend Moderators, Honorable Lancy Sir, Honorable Mr. Chinnappan, Honorable Mr. Alphonse, Honorable Dr. John Dayal, co-panelist, Honorable P.A. Jose Advocate, Reverend Sister Sneha Gill, Miss Manohari Edward M. Arakidas, sisters and brothers. On 24th of October 1950, Mr. G.K. Francis, President of the Catholic Regional Council, Nagpur, submitted first memorandum to Honorable Prime Minister Nehru. On 21st of September 1976, Mr. D.V.D. Monte, President of the Catholic Union, met Indira Gandhi and insisting her for granting the scheduled caste status to Christians of SC origin. In year 2004, our beloved brother, Mr. demised brother and Dr. John Dayal did a lot of advocacy and lobbying work for make this issue as an international issue and Indian issue by doing some very great thing at New Delhi. Along with them, I worked. On 21st of August 2017, IQ filed a separate writ petition by joining this case by supporting this issue. We are grateful to IQ, all the authorities of IQ and the members of IQ. Here, I am noting the last Pope, Pope John Paul. He declared on 3rd of June 2003. Unfortunately, in some regions, the state authorities have yielded to the pressures of these extremists and have passed unjust anti-conversion laws prohibiting free exercise of the natural right to the religious freedom or withdrawing state support for those in scheduled castes who have chosen to convert to Christianity. Anyhow, I greet and congratulate IQ as per the version of Pope John Paul, who have initiated the thing wholeheartedly by supporting this issue. Point number 1. Then I have quoted some other observation of IQ leaders and others. Honorable Dr. John Dayal will pass on this written message to all of you. What is the issue before us? The issue is the paragraph 3 of the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950 issued in excess of Article 341 of the Constitution of India, which says that notwithstanding anything contained in paragraph 2, no person who professes a religion different from Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism shall be deemed to be a member of a scheduled caste, is unconstitutional and void, being violative of Articles 14, equality, Article 15, non-discrimination, Article 16, non-discrimination in employment, and 25, religious freedom of the Constitution of India. Because of the 17 million Christians of scheduled caste origin people, Christian members of the enumerated caste, a simple unconstitutional term is Dalit Christians, are not entitled to avail the scheduled caste status as per Indian Constitution Article 15(4), getting special privilege in education from the state, Article 16(4)(a)(b), getting special privilege in employment from the state. Article 17, abolition of untouchability. Article 14, special privilege given to scheduled caste. Article 24(3)(t), right to contest from the reserve constituencies of the village panchayats. Article 243(t), right to contest from the reserve constituencies of the municipal panchayats. Article 330, right to contest from the reserve constituencies of the Indian Parliament lower house. Article 332, right to contest from the reserve constituencies of the state legislative assemblies. Article 335, availing privilege in employment of the state. Article 341(1), subdivision 2, finding the scheduled caste names and doing amendment for inserting deletion of the caste names from the schedule. Article 338, subdivision 9, National Commission for Scheduled Caste Intervention. Article 366, 24, defining scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe, and the Scheduled Caste Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, amended in the year 2018 to get legal protection when origin people are victimized because of the untouchability and its practice. Then why, on what basis scheduled caste privilege is denied to Christians of scheduled caste origin by the government of India? What do they say? Hindu religion only recognize the caste discrimination, and the Christianity does not recognize the caste discrimination. Of scheduled caste origin, Dalit Christians are not entitled to avail the scheduled caste status. Point number 3, how we are going to give the justification for granting the scheduled caste status to Christians of scheduled caste origin. In the year 1983, Government of India's Ministry of Home Affairs, they had brought one report, that is high power panel on minorities. Again, I want to emphatically say the point, Government of India's report, which says the Christians and the Neo-Buddhists need the same kind of concessions for their converts from the scheduled caste as are offered to Hindus and Sikhs, and their plea we have recommended should be fulfilled with utmost sympathy. They too suffer from the same economic handicaps and social neglect and isolation as the Hindu scheduled caste, as is amply illustrated by us in our report elsewhere. So based upon this high power panel on minorities recommendation, in the year 1990, Buddhists of scheduled caste origin had been given the privilege. As on Christians of SC origin, they are not given the privilege, which is against Article 14, which is against Article 15, talks about non-discrimination and equality. Then in the year 1996, as you know, the Congress government, it had brought ordinance. First it had brought the cabinet note, it had brought bill and ordinance. What it says, that ordinance, Government of India's note very clearly says, change of religion won't change the social status. 83, the High Power Committee on Minorities, Government of India report, it was brought it very with the Hindus, Sikhs of scheduled caste origin, Christians and Buddhists of scheduled caste origin should be extended the privilege. So based on that report, now we propose this cabinet note, bill and ordinance for granting them the scheduled caste status. So these are all the vital evidences. Based on that, we have placed our plea before the Supreme Court of India. Now, we can say in the year 1996, the bill, the cabinet note was brought by the then government. How far this present government would accept? Is there any rationale? Is there any citation which supports our plea which we have put before the Supreme Court? Andhra Pradesh Dairy Development Corporation Federation versus Narasimha Reddy and others, 2011, 9 SEC 286, page number 306, paragraph number 40. So we are going to ask the present government and the Honorable Supreme Court of India, Based on the 1996 cabinet note, the Christians of SC origin should be given the SC status. So, in support of this plea, I am just quoting the version of the Honorable Supreme Court. In the matter of government of a state, the succeeding government is duty bound to continue and carry on the unfinished job of the previous government for the reason that the action is that of the state within the meaning of Article 12 of the Constitution, which continues to and therefore it is not required that the new government can plead contrary from the state action taken by the in respect of a particular subject. Therefore, it is not required that the new government can plead contrary from the state action taken by the previous government in respect of a particular subject. The state, being a continuing body, can be stopped from changing its stand in a given case. But where after holding inquiry, it came to the conclusion that action was not in conformity, the doctrine of estoppel would not apply. Thus, unless the act done by the previous government is found to be contrary to the statutory provisions, unreasonable or against the policy, the state should not change its stand merely because of the other political party has come into power. Political agenda of an individual or a political party should not be subversive of rule of law. The government has to rise above the nexus of vested interest and the nepotism extra, as the principle of governance have to be tested on the touchstones of the justice, equity, and fair play. The decision must be taken in good faith and must be legitimate. So, here, based on this Apex Court's version, cabinet note, bill, and ordinance, the present government and the Supreme Court mandatorily should extend the scheduled caste status to Christians of SC origin. Social exclusion is different from the religious perception. One thing I wanted to tell, though the African American, black people, and the white people of America and in Europe, they were all following Christianity, they are all following. Exclusion was there. Social exclusion is different from the religious perception, religious teachings, practice. It is nothing but a dissent-based discrimination based on the menial jobs. As said by Ambedkar, here in India, division of labor is the problem here. So another thing I wanted to tell, what is the interpretation of the Supreme Court concerning with the delinking the social exclusion and the religious perception? That is, in Muhammad Sadiq versus Dabara Singh Guru case, on April 29, 2016, Honorable Justice Rangan Gogoi, Honorable Justice Prafulla C. Pant, they had very categorically written, in quotation, it is settled law that a person can change his religion and faith, but not the caste to which he belongs, as caste has linkage to birth. This is a very important thing. Other thing, Chandra versus Tangamuthu, judgment delivered by Honorable Justice Dattu on September 7, 2010. What it says, Hinduism is not a caste system and its hierarchies. Though the system is part of its social arrangement based on the division of labor, Hinduism does not preach or uphold untouchability. Though the Hindu society has practiced it, firstly due to reasons of the public health and later due to prejudice. Here the Supreme Court very clearly says, Hinduism does not preach or uphold untouchability. Whereas the government of India, in its reply, it had said, Hinduism does only recognize caste discrimination. It is contrary to the version of the Supreme Court. Here also we are on positive point. Kailash Sonkar versus Maya Devi, 1984 2 SCC 91. How again the Supreme Court categorizes dealing religion from the social perspective. It says, where a person belonging to a scheduled caste is converted to Christianity or Islam, the same involves you unless the religion which he is converted is illegal enough to permit the convertee caste which he was originally governed. There are a number of cases where members belonging to a particular caste having been converted to Christianity or even to Islam retain their caste or family laws, and despite the new order, they were permitted to be governed by their old laws. But this can happen only if the new religion is liberal and tolerant enough to permit such a course of action, where the new religion, however, does not at all accept or believe in the caste system. Here, the CBCI, the policy of Dalit empowerment in the Catholic Church in India, an ethical imperative to build inclusive community, CBCI Dalit policy, it very clearly says there is wider acceptance that the practice of untouchability and discrimination against Dalits exists in the church, and there is need to address these issues urgently. By putting the same version, CBCI and the NCCI, the prominent churches of India, they had filed impleadment petition before the Supreme Court of India. They have accepted the severity and prevalence of the caste discrimination which is prevailing among the Indian Christians. They had very clearly said before the Supreme Court, yes, Christians of scheduled caste origin are socially, educationally backward, arising out of the traditional practice of untouchability, which is prevailing among the Christian society and in the civil society. Here also we are in a positive mode. Another thing, the judgment of this Venkatachalaya, that is Brahmachari Siddheswar Sai versus State of West Bengal, the judge, Honorable Justice Venkatachalaya, very clearly said, he says about the Hinduism like this: Hinduism does not subscribe to any one dogma. It does not believe in any one philosophy concept. It does not follow any one set of religious rites or performances. In fact, it does not appear to satisfy the narrow traditional features of any religion of creed. It may broadly be classified, described as a way of life, nothing more. As per the Supreme Court, it is very clearly said, Hinduism is not a religion, it is a way of life. So here, the version of the central government, Hinduism does only recognize caste system. It doesn't have any meaning at all. As per the Supreme Court's the version which I read earlier, it says Hinduism is not the whole sole authority for recognizing the untouchability. So now, on what basis we are going to prove our socio-educational backwardness before the Supreme Court? In the year 1983, one beloved Susai, a cobbler man from Chennai, had filed a petition in the Supreme Court for getting the SC status to Christians of SC origin. There, the Supreme Court had given us an opportunity. If the, hello? Are you hearing me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, very loud and clear. You are very loud and clear.
Very clearly said, establish that paragraph 3 of the Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1950 discriminates against Christians members of the enumerated caste. It must be shown that they suffer from a comparable depth of social and economic disabilities. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we are hearing.
Similar level of degradation
We can hear you.
in the Christian community, necessitating intervention by the state under the provision of the Constitution. It is not sufficient to show that the same caste continue after conversion. It is necessary to establish further that the disabilities and handicaps suffered from in social order of its origin, Hinduism continue in its oppressive severity in the new environment of a different community. So we have to prove our socio-educational backwardness arising out of the traditional practice of untouchability with cogent, authoritative, detailed evidences. So what are the detailed evidences which we had submitted before the Honorable Supreme Court? That is, all which I am going to read, all the documents were created by the Government of India, who are the prime respondent in this case. Report of the Backward Class Commission headed by Kaka Kalalkar in the year 1953, page number 160. The Committee on Untouchability, Parliamentary Committee, Economic Educational Development of the Scheduled Caste, connected documents year 1969, Government of India, Department of Social Welfare, the present respondent number 1, L.A. Perumal. Mandal Commission report of the Backward Class Commission, first part, volume 1 and 2, year 1980, page number 55 and 56. High Power Committee on Minorities, SC, ST and other weaker sections, 1983. Constitution Scheduled Caste Order 1990, the statement and reasons of the bill dated 2nd of March 1990. It very clearly says, when they had given the SC status to Buddhists of Scheduled Caste origin, they had proposed the bill by telling change of religion won't change the social status. If it was holds good for Buddhists of Scheduled Caste origin, the version change of religion won't change the social status. It also will be satisfying the requirement of the Christians of SC origin for getting them the SC status. On 11th of March 1996, the then Union Minister of Welfare had proposed Bill number 17, the related cabinet note for bill and ordinance.
Franklin, you have a few more minutes.
National Commission to review the working of the Constitution wind up on 30th of April 2002, volume 2. The educational status of the Muslim community of India, Prime Minister's High-Level Committee, Cabinet Secretariat, Government of India, otherwise called as Sachar Committee report. National Commission for Religious and Linguistic Minorities, headed by Justice Ranganath Misra Commission report, which was submitted to PM on 21st of May 2007. It very clearly says, after taking a cabinet decision, assignment had been given to them. After getting many state governments' written reply, the NCRLM report was submitted to Prime Minister. It says, change of religion won't change the social status. Delink religion for the consideration of Scheduled Caste status, makes Scheduled Caste net as religion neutral. Then, Dalit in Muslims and Christian community status report on current social scientific knowledge, prepared for National Commission for Minorities, Government of India, by Professor Satish Deshpande. All these evidences are in our favor. Beyond that, the evidences which had been supported, which had been filed by the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India and the National Council of Churches in India, by accepting the severity and prevalence of the caste discrimination which is prevailing among the Indian Christians. By incorporating the following finding, the National Commission for Scheduled Caste had filed its response as second respondent. The National Commission for Scheduled Caste, it functions under Article 338, Subdivision 9. It had filed some sort of positive response to the Supreme Court as respondent number 2. What it says, date 22nd April 2010, in view of the full NCRLM, National Commission for Religious and Linguistic Minorities report being laid before the Parliament, the National Commission for Scheduled Caste may reiterate its earlier position, fully endorse the recommendation of the National Commission for Religious and Linguistic Minorities. On 18th of July 2012, the third respondent, National Commission for Minorities, had filed affidavit in the Supreme Court, which says as follows: with the commission again in its meeting dated 6th of May 1997 made a statutory recommendation G of the NCM Act, recommending in the Constitution of its earlier recommendation for outright removal of the proviso Constitution SCR 1950, which confines the SC status strictly to 3 specific religions to the exclusion of all other religions. It is necessary, in the opinion of the Commission, to do so in order to fully implement Constitution's stress on the guarantee of equality before the law and equal protection of law and constitutional prohibition of all religion-based discrimination. So both the commissions had filed positive response in the Supreme Court. Above all, from 1950 as on date, approximately around 20 private members' bill had been filed, discussed in the Indian Parliament, both lower and upper house of Parliament, including the government bill which was proposed by Congress government in the year 1996. So my final plea, to all of you, we have hope on God and nature that definitely we could win in this legal battle for getting the scheduled caste status to Christians of SC origin. Unless otherwise, if it is not given by God Almighty or nature, we cannot inherit anything in this world. Even all the religious books say, because of me, rulers are ruling, judges are ruling. Though some sort of stumbling blocks are there in all sides, we have hope on God that God could redeem all these people by the way of giving the SC status to Christians and Muslims of scheduled caste origin. Another thing is, I wholeheartedly appreciate this IQ, particularly the present leaders and Dr. Dayal, for consistently working for getting them the legal right. Because of this non-inclusion, around 17 million people are affected. They are not in a position to get the state aid from the states. Because of this stumbling block, around 5 million Christians of SC origin, Dalit Christians, had been forced to follow other religion to avail this SC status. It is the conversion law which was brought by this Union of India. So, as the apex body, the All India Catholic Union, you have a lot of work to do for this. All these evidences of the government side we have presented before the Supreme Court. Hello? Hello? Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
go
brother.
ahead.
Please.
Presented before the Supreme Court, we have hope on God and nature that had done marvelous. As much as possible, you have to take this SC status to these people for the eradication of untouchability among the Christians. Also, as the IQ, you have to think Hello.
I'm very delighted to see our Vice President and all the other dignitaries. Now I call upon Sister Anastasia Gill. When I say this, and when I tell this, pronounce his name, one thing that comes back to my mind is on 11th of November 2011, when there was a lathi charge on the demonstrators demanding for Dalit Christians. She was one who was injured in the whole issue, and being a woman, I tell you, she's real power. And now we call upon Sister Gill, Sister Sneha, if I'm right. Please come in, sister, and enlighten us. Thank you.
Point my presentation. I'm going to speak what has already been continued from Franklin onwards, the discrimination faced by Dalit Christians within the government sector, and what I'm going to take human rights perspective. I will also be sharing what the CBCI policy has come out. I'll share a bit of the history, and then I would like to go ahead and share a bit of religion-based data of northern few states, just to depict the reality of our own Christian community. A community that suffers being Christians, you have converted to Christianity. At the same time, the social stigma continues because of the work, the menial jobs that people, a huge percentage continues to be there. So therefore, I would like to begin, I want to pay my honors also to Archbishop Anil Cuto, also our CBCI chairman, Bishop Saratji, who is here, John Dayalji, all my colleagues, and to All India Catholic Union. I think you have done a wonderful job. And the president who had empowered by the Article 341, it was to extend the benefits to the scheduled caste and the races eligible for reservation, and this it is expected to be enlisted on caste only and not the religions when the origin of it, I'm trying to. But in contradiction to Article 341, when he promulgated the Scheduled Caste Order 1950, again stating in paragraph 3, which our Franklin has explained very well, notwithstanding anything containing in paragraph 2, that when a person professes a religion different from Hinduism, shall be deemed to be a member of the scheduled caste. I would like to point out and bring it to our consideration. The order actually here is one of communal and anti-constitutional, which we all will agree, because it brings in religion as a base for extension of reservation, which we are challenging as per the case laws, which were already stated by Franklin Caesar. So therefore, I would also like to share with you that it goes against the Constitution of Article 15, Article 4, 46, 330 and 341, whereby we are talking of the caste factor, which is given as the criteria for the extension of the reservation benefits. Now, I would like to talk our perspective over here, being Christians, and still being, since I have just completed my term as 3-year minority commissions in Delhi state, I saw that how distinction ethnic Christians are being segregated. Neither they can get their full benefit as minorities, neither can they be included into SC category, and therefore the dual discrimination whereby the Christians are experiencing. And here I would like to also bring, the parliament has also rectified this lacuna when they are coming out with paragraph 3 of the order by amending the constitutional scheduled caste order in 1950. I would like to bring to our notice that Sikhs by way of religion have been included in 1956. They can avail of SC status. And again in 1990, Buddhism have been included. But however, how is it that the Christians and the Muslims belonging to scheduled caste origin have not been included? This is the crux of the entire Supreme Court fight that is going on. Therefore, this discrimination deprives the Christians and the Muslim Dalits to seek civil protection and safeguards provided for all other Dalits under Civil Rights Act in 1995. Therefore, the Untouchability Offences Act 1979 and Prevention of Atrocity Act 1989 that blatantly has explained the violation and denial of human rights of a citizen under our Constitution. And therefore, I would also like to draw our attention under Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights of UN, to which our India is a signatory. So, my dear friends, we have got enough of legal information after having listened to my elder brother, Franklin Caesar. I'm going to directly, I've been going through certain surveys and reports. One of the survey report that I have come across from CBCI's study is socioeconomic disabilities that the Dalit Christians do face. It is Dr. Jose Kanakali's study, which is on scheduled caste converts and the social disabilities, prove that the SC converts to Christianity suffer more socio-educational and economic disabilities than the non-convert Dalits. So I think today our topic is precisely talking and reflecting on this reality. And therefore, I would like to bring forth to you the general analysis. What this study has been done quite earlier, but I would say this would fit in even today if you conduct this study either in any northern part of the, India or in any of the southern parts. One of the general analysis that has been brought is the Dalits converted into specific areas in comparison to those who suffered are the types of houses. Maybe the housing facilities have improved, the drinking facility, the conditions of approaching the private public resources, the employment, the facilities in the education, and practice of untouchability still continues in certain areas. The study that I am quoting and sharing, it is of course a study based in Tamil Nadu, but still it does fit into number of other states which I have analyzed for myself. I would like to bring in Catholic Bishop Conference of India has come out with a general body meeting, because this is a very important meeting whereby we have our Honorable Archbishop present, and also the Chair, Anil Cuto is with us, and we also have our Chairman of SC Commission with us. So therefore, I'm reminding ourselves a reflection of what we have spelled out in CBCI. CBCI General Body meeting at Trichinopoli has brought in 1982 that Bishops' Conference of India, it is in 1982 that they would consider caste and its effect on the society at large, and particularly also within the church. And therefore, the commitment that has been taken, this is way back in 1982, that particularly in the eradication of what is known as caste mentality, the mindset, the unchristian attitude will be questioned in most of our religious practices. And therefore, the caste mindset, the unchristian attitude will not be confined to the oppression of the lower caste or those of the higher caste, but also which are found within our church and caste mind attitudes. And therefore, Christ and caste cannot go together. In the given scenario, I look at that caste mindset is what we got to remove today, not as we are fighting with Supreme Court. Maybe it becomes a tough fight, but denial within the church, within the Christian institutions, which becomes totally inhuman and intolerable. And therefore, it has been said, Galatians, they have even quoted that for Christ there is no slave and no free person. And also in 1992, the CBCI General Body meeting again held in Pune, 1992. I'm giving you the gist of that. The General Body has come out whereby 119 bishops were present. And they have come out saying that we have 3 questions they have engaged themselves. The restlessness and the agitations of Dalit Christians to be discussed in depth. And the demands that came out in 3-fold are, I read them as special socio-economic, educational, housing, etc. to be taken on priority basis at regional diocesan authority levels. Special emphasis to be set on education for all at national, regional, and diocesan social service societies. And therefore, empowerment of Dalits in the structure, within the structures of the church. It is mandatory for us to look into the important aspect of Christian spirit towards patiently, untiringly looking at the root cause of the problems within the institution. And therefore, respect the Catholics. If there is a certain attitude that is coming within the structures of the church, be it a caste mind, upper caste, be it within the bishops, priests, religious, laity, change their attitudes towards Dalits, the Dalit perspective within the church, begin God's kingdom within the church. And therefore, God's children are only being given glory as sons and daughters. When we are given baptism, there is no distinction between Jew and Greek. And therefore, today, the question arises, do we reflect deeply on the commitments taken on 1992? The commitment again taken on 1998 at CBCI meeting at Varanasi, which has brought again the role of the church in uprooting the cause of caste discrimination. The church in India will actively involve in denouncing the caste system and discrimination against the Dalits. Positive measures to be taken for their development. And therefore, the prevalence of the caste system, not only in the society, but also in some parts of the church in India, that needs to be addressed seriously in matters of shame and disgrace, because Christ and caste cannot go together. I would just like to draw our attention upon in Yesu Christ Jayanti, we have our 2000, again, an action plan has been drawn. In that action plan, the priority, I've just taken few recommendations again, the measures that were taken to listen to the Spirit, telling the bishops and the church at large. First of all, there need to be a faith-based vision that enables us to see Jesus in the poor, the Dalits, the tribals, so that there is a change in our attitude towards them. This must become evident to them in our policies, in our decision makings, in our practices, in our day-to-day interactions with the people, in the churches, in the parishes, in the dioceses, and in the entire church institutions. Non-formal education to conscientize, train and organize and empower the poor, the Dalits and the tribals must be given a top priority. The church will take a clear stand against the caste discrimination and declare it a sin. It must be taught in catechism and homilies that any form of discrimination must be completely stopped. These are commitments we have taken in 2000. This is almost 20 years back. So I am taking each of us to the history where we are in. And therefore, we propose that we powerfully work towards transforming our own Christian community to get reconciled within the church, strengthen our communities as a Christian community in order to powerfully fight with the external machinery, the government. Our liturgies should change us and build relationships as members of one family, foster fellowship and solidarity, leading to active concern and equality at all levels. There should be no sign of any discrimination in places of worship, cemeteries, our liturgies, and therefore we also challenge to face the realities of the world with a sense of mission. It's a mission to bring about God's reign. Luke 4, we are saying, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to bring good news to the poor, to liberate and bring freedom. And therefore, all our institution services must cater increasingly to the poor. And there must be reservations both in admission and in employment for Dalits and tribals at all levels. And therefore, we are coming out with, there are a number of examples to be cited. I will not go into that because this report is already just there. But very specific, I would like to take us to reflect upon that. Though we have journeyed this, I am only taking us back to 2000. Where have we succeeded? Have we failed to educate our Dalits and our tribal children sufficiently. India, where as per the population of India, we know majority of our students from Dalit and from tribal belts are either dropouts in primary, secondary due to their poverty and ignorance. And therefore, we have maybe 2% of Dalit population, which right now, each state is present here also. From northern states, there are some people I see who are addressing. So I'll
Sister,
be sharing with you. There
Sister,
are
how many more
certain
minutes?
incentives that were worked out.
Sister,
So I think equal rights to Dalit Christians at social
Sister Sneha?
justice, as in the Union of India also, what we are saying is as per the 1950 order,
Sister Sneha?
equal rights to Dalit Christians, the Dalit community in India, when it is experiencing injustice being rendered by the
Sister?
government of India. So we have walked a long way, but what is our status at a national, at a nationwide, when we have Christian institutions all over the country? We have, how far are we able to cater to the Dalits in education, in giving job reservations, and in accommodating them in our own institutions or in our own setups? Therefore, I would just like to draw up an attention that after big struggle, all that has been, we have struggle for equal rights that we have been talking of, it has been worked and framed very well through our
Sister,
Dalit
how many more
policy.
minutes,
So I
sister?
would just like to highlight
Sister?
policy of Dalit
Sister
empowerment
Sneha?
in the Catholic Church in India, which has been brought out, and all our
Sister Sneha?
interventions.
Sister
It has
Sneha,
been
we are running out of time, really.
sent, transported,
Sister?
I know very well, from CBCI to all
Gill,
the
Sister Gill,
diocese.
kindly
I would
attention,
like
please.
to
Sister Gill.
reinforce as my social activism, as human rights activist,
I think our speakers are off.
as a person who fought at Jantar Mantar,
Sister Sneha?
Can't hear
one
what you're
who
saying.
got, even
Sister
if
Sneha?
there was a need, we got the lathi charge on us. Bishop Anil Cuto had been there. We had also Bishop Ignatius walking. We had bishops with us, and with the permission of
Sister Sneha?
Archbishop that day, I told him, please give me permission. With the women, we are going ahead. And that happened in 2013, that massive protest has changed. We were all taken into jail bharao, and we stayed on until we got a confirmation. And therefore, I would just like to tell us what we have worked out.
Sister Sneha?
CBCI, reinforcing our education and economic empowerment of our Christian. So I'm not
Sister?
going to read out.
Lady, give her a
Sister?
ring.
And we
Sister?
are going to monitor, develop, lay leadership for political action.
Sister, the time is up.
At state level, state bureaucracy, in the
Sister,
judiciary,
the time is up.
that Dalits and Muslims will work towards practices of untouchability, discrimination. And
Sister?
therefore, we are strengthening and implementing our strategies and monitoring mechanisms
She can't hear you.
to make
Sister?
our,
I think she has put her speakers
our
off
own
and
Dalit
she's talking.
movements more strong.
Can
And
we?
I
I
would
think I
like
don't
to
think
see
we can hear.
building
Give her a telephone call.
platforms to strengthen the common good. Therefore, for me, what has
Kindly call
happened
from the
over
mobile,
here is
please.
that we got to build one of the solidarity building platform is taking place today. That this is one of the solidarities that has come. Now, I would like to just go ahead and share with you the data that I have received very hurriedly from.
Sister,
I
sister,
have
the time is
also
up.
invited Bishop Ivan
Sister?
to join on this debate.
Sister, please.
Am I audible? Can
Sister, sister, the time is up. Are you concluded?
I have a data to present.
Uh,
I have just another 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Hello, just 5 minutes. I'm closing. Yeah. So we have a religion-wise data. I would just like to share 2 minutes. that there is, as per the census of the data, we have, as per the Jammu population, we have 35,631. So let me just interrupt I'm going to dwell on J&K and also in Punjab. What is happening as per the data of the government census 2011, whereby the Muslim Christian community is shown as per the data, almost they are missing generation. Therefore, if Jammu has 35,630, as per our own data, it comes to 30,000, only vote bank is with them. There is lack of political leadership, children are dropping out, and because they are still involved, 70% people are still
John, I called
in real jobs as municipality, corporation workers. They still continue to experience.
I don't know whether she can hear.
Punjab or in UP or in Jammu or in Haryana, they continue to experience discrimination based on stigma.
Yes. I'll call her.
The economically they may have come up, but politically now we've got to educate our people and organize them so that we are able to journey with them. So I think a lot of things will come up with the questions. I stop here. Kennedy, I stop here. I had few more things, but I'll stop here because I want others to listen. Hello.
Kennedy, please unmute yourself and speak. Kennedy, unmute yourself.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, now we can.
Thank you, sister, for enlightening us about the issues within the church and within the church structures. Now I call upon Miss Manohari, wife of Advocate R.K. Das, who was ran of the Dalit Christian issue.
Hello, Kennedy, she's here in her own right.
and also an activist who was doing a lot of groundwork in Tamil Nadu and elsewhere. Please, Miss Manohari, please come in and enlighten us. Thank you.
This is nice.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening to everyone.
Please, madam.
Yeah.
We can hear you, madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Please continue, madam.
Yeah. Thank you. My honors to the bishops and the chairperson Kennedy, and also I am very thankful for the opportunity created by AICU, especially the AICU president, vice president, and Dr. John Dayal. I am wholeheartedly appreciate the venture, and I would like to take only 3 to 5 minutes only. I would like to already all the panelists, they have highlighted the issues of Dalit Christians. Still, I would like to point out 2 or 3 points. That is, Indian Christians, there are 42% are Dalit Christian. In this year, August 11, 2020, the Christian groups in India have demanded the government to grant scheduled caste status for Christians of Dalit origin. This year, the church and other groups in India sent appeals to the government to amend the constitution to include Christians for the statutory benefits. The COVID-19 pandemic situation prevented them holding meetings and rallies demanding the same. Still, we are having the national level webinar and we are working for giving justice to the millions of Dalit Christians. An order signed on August 10, 1950 by the then President of Rajendra Prasad granted statutory benefits to the Hindu of low caste origins for their socio-economic advancement, and later it was amended in 1956 to include Sikhs And again, 1990 ordered Buddhists also. Order was already so many people they have mentioned. I don't like to repeat it again. Due to this discriminatory order, millions of Christians and Muslim Dalits have been suffering injustice and deprivation for the past more than 70 years. Their cry for justice for decades seemed to fall on the deaf ear of our government. The then government, the national government has criticizing the Ranganath Misra reports and recommendations for extending the scheduled caste status to Dalit Christians, saying that the very of Dalit or scheduled caste community specific. So it is very and against the provision of the constitution. The central government spokesperson Rasangar Prasad said the people had opted out of Hinduism for Christianity because of their claim to be non-caste based, non-discriminatory societies. He also said once they are out of caste based society, they cannot revert and seek benefits from the same society which they have been given up. This has clearly laid down in constitution and the Supreme Court order and judgment. Many years, different Dalit Christians in the India have been fighting to prove that the caste system is prevalent among Christians and those who convert should have the privilege to maintain their SC status even after conversion. So we need amendment in the Constitution Order of 1950 and the 70th anniversary, the August 10th, the Dalits observing it as a Black Day. Apart from to discrimination, the main issues, the atrocities against Dalit Christians are not dealt with seriously because technically they do not come under the SC/ST Act of 1989 because they are not that category. The Dalit Christian face discrimination in the society, community, and in the church and have no legal protection. Due to the lack of SC status, it has become an obstacle for people to follow the faith they want to. This is against individual rights granted by Article 25th of our Constitution. The Dalit Christian demand for age relaxation and special protection under the law and other benefits. Though the Dalit Christian change their religion, their socio-economic status remain the same. Many of the Dalit Christians do not get the opportunity to do higher studies or obtaining government jobs. Commission reports and studies recommended SC status to Dalit Christians. As the Dalit Christians be included under religious and linguistic minorities and also demanded for constitutional amendment. The government stating that SC status cannot be given as Christianity does not follow the caste system. Caste system is in the minds of people and Christians are not discriminated and not following casteism. We demand allow and extend the SC status to Dalit Christian for allowing special privilege in education, scholarships, employment, welfare measures, panchayat elections, legislative assemblies and parliament, and availing of legal remedy and protection under SC/ST, that is Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, amended. It was amended in the year 2016, 18, 19, and 2020 also. But we are analyzing the budget, this 2020 and 21. It was submitted by Ministry of Finance and the BJP government stressed on the principle of inclusive growth and has assured development throughout the country. It also assured to bridge the development gap between SC/STs with the rest of the population by looking at three aspects: allocation, the proportion of targeted schemes which directly benefit SC and STs. Allocation for SC rupees nearly 84 crores, that is with a specific 323 schemes for the welfare of SCs. But these are all under the general nature of schemes. Yes, we are taking the special component plan has been renamed as DAPSC, that is Development Action Plan for Scheduled Caste. So we in Madurai, in Tamil Nadu also, we have undertook during Advocate Edward M. Arakidas, he also initiated some of the agitation in Madurai and in Tamil Nadu state and at the national level. In 1995, they also invited Ramlas Baswan and they also submitted a memorandum for the equal status of women. They have joined with the Dalit liberation movement and Dalit equality movement like that. There are many movement, they have undertook many agitation and conferences and submit demand for the
Sister Manohari.
Yeah, is it able to hear?
Yeah. But
I will stop.
No. Please finish in one minute, please.
Yeah. And also there are many struggles they have undertook, but I'm not involved in all these issues which was taken by Edward Arakidas. But I am having the first time I am doing this Dalit Christian issues. Thank you for that. And now this government, they are taking the country to fascism, and the democracy was being exploited by our ruling government, and to achieve their goal of Hindutva. So as per many suggestions by other panelists, we have to follow and we have to eradicate the discrimination in the church and also wider level at the national level and in the community and in the society. Thank you once and for all. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks for a wonderful presentation, Sister Manohari. Now I call upon the man behind several struggles and several successes and perseverance. That is none other than Dr. John Dayal, who all of us know very well, who's also inspiring and motivating us every day of our life. Dr. John, please come in for.
Thank you very much.
Session.
Thank you very much indeed. This must be the most successful webinar in the current COVID season, organized by the All Democratic Union, almost 50 plus, sometimes 60, and they continue till almost the very end. We would wish we had half an hour discussion, but for discussions to take place, key speakers must be brief. But they were expansive and they explained very much. So I do not think any questions remain unanswered, and we will take it as granted that all questions have been adequately answered. Before I begin, let me pay my tribute to Edward Arakidas, a French-trained lawyer who organized many, many years ago in Madurai a first public tribunal on Dalit Christians. It was remarkable. Almost 1,000 people spoke on tape. Manohari would have the tape somewhere, and we must dig them out and use them in future legal cases. Franklin is remarkable and deserves our grateful thanks as a people. P.I. Jose brings in another mood, and I will mention him in another minute thing. And sister comes from Jammu. Punjab and Jammu are areas that have not yet figured in the mind's consciousness of South India as to what is happening. Many years ago, with the late Agnivesh, we were launching a movement, not launching, but triggering off one wave of the movement against manual scavenging. And part of that was me traveling across the border villages of India and Pakistan from towards Jammu all the way to Rajasthan. And we discovered that manual scavenging exists even now. 10 years ago, it was rampant. And Hindus were, of course, involved. Hindu women would remove human excreta on their heads and dump it outside the village. We were surprised. There were Muslim women by the hundreds doing the same job in Rajasthan. And I was ashamed. I could have sunk into the ground at the India-Pakistan border when we discovered that Christian women also do that. And why not? Because whether they're Sikhs or Hindus or Muslims, the Dalit is a people cutting across dimensions. And that leads me, I've prepared a text as my concluding remarks, which I'll put up in chat. I'm not going to that. It will conclude in about 2 minutes. What do we gather from the last 2 hours, from when Nisha spoke to when I'm speaking, is the duality in the church, the hypocrisy and the reality. Why is it a CCBI issue, not a CBCI issue? Where are the two rights? Why is it an ecumenical issue, but not an evangelical Pentecostal issue? We have no clear idea of the scriptures. We don't even read the sayings of Jesus. And between ourselves, how can there be a Dalit unless there's an upper caste? God didn't make anybody upper caste. I am a former communist. I don't believe in caste and class. And yet, in the matrimonials, in the AICU forums, people are so proud of saying, I come from so and so. I don't know. I only know who I come from what my mother says. I think I came from Mother Africa. Caste is ingrained in the mind like race in America. Let me breathe, said the black man as the white man killed him. And the Dalit Christian, 20 years ago, I was in Durban, a self-appointed spokesperson of nobody. I always said I'm a spokesperson of raped nuns and dead priests because they will never disown me. And what was happening there? Indian Christians were there as NGOs fighting against race, demanding that Dalitism be deemed to be a race. There were 2 Catholics there apart from me. The Bishop, chairperson of the CBCI Commission for SC and ST, and priest secretary of the same commission, Father Lutsami, my dearest friend. And the bishop, they were in civil dress, without even a cross. The NGOs had taken over. They did not want to speak of the Dalit issue because the funding would go away. They were supposed to be secular. We had to fight, Tisa Setal and I, with the Secretary General of the United Nations to be able to speak. That is the crisis. The church is there in lip service, in documentation. The CBCI, as I've said, and they don't like me for it, doesn't read its own documents. If they did, all the 4 cardinals would be leading us and not leaving it to Sneha and me in Vijay Lal of the EFI and few others to get beaten up. That the unity of the church. And I will conclude by saying this is not an NGO movement. This is a movement of the people. And let me borrow both from Martin Luther and from Belka. You must educate. You must unite. You must agitate continuously, non-stop, 24/7, because you have nothing to lose but your bondage. For the government of India, whether it is Congress, and I have it from no less than the mother of the Congress, Sonia Gandhi. I have no hopes from the party. My party is thoroughly divided. Even the Dalits in the party have been divided. Nobody likes your case at all. This Article 341, Part 3, the presidential order, is the biggest anti-conversion law in the world. It was designed to be so. It was not designed to deny you any privilege. No. They were very large-hearted. If they could find, they would give you privileges. It was designed to save Hinduism. Otherwise, all the Dalits, 20 crores of them, would march out. This was a reversal or a continuation of the Pune Pact. It's a political issue. You have to fight it politically. Today, the church uses all its muscle power, all its guns in parliament. For what? For coconut prices, for rubber prices, not for you. How do we force our own people to fight? For us, for themselves, for Christ. Think about it. God bless you all, and thank you very much for participating in this seminar. I thank all the speakers. They were wonderful. My salutations. If there were a Nobel Prize in India, I would give it to Franklin, after asking him to please confine himself only to 20 minutes. He deserves the Nobel. And nobody more in India than him. Single-handed the fight. He has quarreled with the Chief Justice and defeated him in a way, forced him to rule in Franklin's favor. The engineer, the architect, a self-taught lawyer is today possibly our most visible face in this struggle. Let us join civil society, let us join the ordinary Dalit, let us protest every time a Dalit girl is raped. Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, doesn't matter. Let us protest every time a Dalit is hanged. Let us protest every time a Dalit bridegroom is pulled down from the horse when a man is not allowed to take a moustache or wear goggles or ride a bullet. Let's join them, and then they will join you. God bless you. Good night.
Thanks, Dr. John. You have regenerated us. And now, dear friends, since we are running out of time, I request only for the first 5 to come out with very short questions. If at all, if you have any questions or queries, please post it to AICU and other members. Please, and now I call upon the first 5, please.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. Hello. Can you hear me, sir? Yeah. I'm Jason Adapalli from Archbishop of Varapalli, Kerala. And my question is that about the recent incident which happened in Chhattisgarh, Raipur. And has we be able to make any progress in supporting the Dalit Christians who's been persecuted there?
The brief answer is yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Next.
Dr. Dayal, what is the steps being taken? We are talking about the government. We are talking about so many things. We have bishops on the in the meeting coming on and talking. But what are we doing with internally the church itself? There is so much of discrimination happening between the Dalits and other castes. How are we going to tackle that? The internal matter is much more serious than the external matter also what we look at now.
Entirely agreed. All the other speakers spoke about this.
So we need to take it up, I think, very seriously on the issue because we are even in the Archdiocese of Hyderabad, we have the same problems.
My dear friend, this is not Hyderabad. What I can tell you, this webinar
Sir,
is a response to your question. The webinar answers your question. We have to educate. Educate people that you're not upper caste. Educate the others that you're not low caste. Fight for your rights. We have to educate the bishops. Choose good Dalit bishops. There's a big education going along with that. I wish we had time to discuss it, maybe a second part of this webinar.
thanks, Royden.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thanks, Kennedy.
Royden, thanks. Next.
Yeah, I'm John from Kurnool, Andhra Pradesh.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, there was an issue in Kadapa diocese, my neighbor diocese in Andhra, that a Dalit bishop is being kidnapped and it is proved by the police, Indian police. And the 3 kidnapped priests who are accused and said as criminals, they are retaken into their services as priests. So is there anything that you can do for that cause? Because it's an injustice. Everybody, now everywhere the dharnas and strikes are going on. Even Bishop Sarat also, I think SBC chairman, Bishop Sarat also.
Sir, please be precise. Sir, please be precise.
Yeah.
No, the question of individual dioceses and issues, it is not that it is happening in secret. We are all aware of it. The process is there. As you know, bishops are in a way sovereign. That particular diocese is multiple crises, and the change of the nuncio has not helped matters. I hope that Cardinal Oswald, chairman of the CBCI, and others will take it up. We continue to agitate, but by force we can't really do something. Building up pressure, putting leadership to shame, encouraging leadership to act in the correct way, presenting panels of good priests to be elevated as bishops. All these are part of the advocacy program. These are not before a judge who will rule yes or no. Advocacy can be slow, but when the fruits come, they can be also equally sweet.
Danam sir,
Yeah.
Danam sir, do you have anything to share? Please be
Yes.
precise. Thank you, sir.
I am Robin from Jammu. Can you hear me? Is it audible? Okay.
Yeah.
You're all
I'm
audible, although the
I'm
Anil
from
was called.
Yes.
But please go ahead,
Yeah.
conclude what you were saying.
Yeah. I have one perception that among the Catholic Church itself, we Catholics hardly come up to support this Dalit cause, which you all are fighting for the last 70 years. My submission, if we include other pastors and their church people, their maximum of them are Dalits, our strength will be more strong.
I wish, Mr. Gill, you were there in 2011. It was a unified movement. Vijay Lal, whose name I mentioned, is the General Secretary now of the Evangelical Fellowship. The Church of North India was largely represented. People had come from all over the Punjab. So it is, as I was saying, we should fight not only ecumenically, not just Christian denominations, but with the Sikh partners, with the Hindu partners, with the Muslim partners. Of late, normally thanks to Franklin and others, Christians and Muslims are fighting it together most of all. But we must get involved, involving others to come with us. But why will they come with others if we don't go with them in their crisis? That is what I was trying to say. But thank you. I think we must really make it an all-denominational effort. Thank you.
Danam sir, please come in.
Just Kennedy, I'm David Mansingh from Tamil Nadu. Is it audible?
He's calling to Mr. Danam, and everybody else is speaking. Let Danam from.
Yeah, please unmute, sir. Danam sir, please unmute. Mr. Mansingh, please come in.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kennedy. I am really happy that this webinar knocking more sound to the church authorities, those who are leading the church, especially the higher authorities. This is a very good thing. Now, my observation, because I was from my understanding, some 20 years, 25 years back, after August 15th of every year, the next Sunday used to celebrate Justice Sunday, especially for Dalit Christians movement. This Justice Sunday. Now it is diluted, especially in South, because too many leaders have taken up this issue, and so many movements have come in, and because of that, it have diluted or what? Number one. Number two, I would appeal to All India Catholic Union to take up that issue. The Justice Sunday program will be a national-wide program organized by AICU. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We'll take it up. But I would not put a direct link between the coming up of so many leaders, and many of them are from Andhra and Telangana, and the fact that the CBCI has diluted the Dalit Sunday. I think we must put pressure on CBCI to enforce it in every parish in the country.
Dear friends, it's time that everything should come to an end, and it's not an end, it's only a beginning. This is a very good beginning that what has been made by All India Catholic Union. Now, with your permission, I'd like to call upon our dynamic Secretary General, Mr. Chinnapan, to propose the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Brother Kennedy, one obligation.
Please, Franklin, sir. Yeah, please.
Yes, I want to present my sincere thanks to NCDC, United Front for Dalit Christian Right, Dalit Christian Liberation Movement, for allowing me to speak on this subject. Because I am their counsel, I am pleased to present my sincere thanks to IQ, Dr. Dayal, and all the office bearers of IQ. I sent one legal write-up So individual capacity, whomsoever want to get the write-up, it is there with Dr. John Dayal. You may know about this issue in a legal perspective. Thank you.
Franklin, I posted it on the chat box. Anybody who wants to see his paper and my concluding remarks, they are there on the chat box. You can cut and paste and read them at leisure.
So nice, sir. Mr. Chidambar, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Your Grace, Most Reverend Anil J.T. Cuto, the Archbishop of Delhi, Right Reverend Sarat Chandra Nayak, the Bishop of Diocese of Perambur. Today's webinar speakers, Advocate P.A. Jose, Advocate Franklin Caesar, Advocate Sister Anastasia Gill, Mrs. Manohari Das, and Dr. John Dayal, our spokesperson and past president. Dear Principal Office Bearers of All India Catholic Union and all the participants in this historic webinar. On behalf of All India Catholic Union, as the Secretary General, I congratulate all for your valuable contribution towards the seminar. I thank God the Almighty for bringing us together to ponder upon the burning issue of our Dalit counterparts and enabling us to understand the issue better and preparing us for a greater struggle. The battle for getting SC status to Dalit Christians and Muslims is a long process with the government adamant to treat our brethren equal with the Dalits of other faith. Today's webinar threw some light on the struggle and plan the way forward to get the constitutional rights of Dalit Christians. I take this opportunity to thank His Grace Most Reverend Anil J.T. Cuto, the Archbishop of Delhi and the Secretary General of CCBI for chairing the seminar and his valuable inputs. He is always supportive of this cause. I express my gratitude to Most Reverend Sarat Chandra Nayak, Bishop of Diocese of Perambur and Chairperson of CBCI's Office for SCBC Commission. Recognizing the contribution of our knowledgeable and experienced advocates and the committed activists, I extend my sincere thanks to Advocate P.A. Jose, Advocate Thomas Franklin Caesar, Advocate Sister Anastasia Gill for in-depth charity and the topic. Mrs. Manohari's talk registered the commitment of laity and as well as lay women. The summing up by Dr. John Dayal, former president and spokesperson of All India Catholic Union, generated a great impact of the seriousness of the issue, for which we are thankful as well. I also congratulate and thank the National President, Mr. Lancet Dikuna, for taking this laborious effort in coordination with the Principal Office Bearers of AICU in organizing this meeting, this webinar. Sincere thanks to members from NCDC, Dr. Mary John, Dr. Dhanam, the former president of NCDC, Mr. Vincent Manogaran, and members from all other organizations, and also the members participated from all over India. Thanks to Father Maria Charles, Secretary Education Commission from CBCI, Father Vijay Nayak, Secretary for SCBC Commission, CCBI, for their august presence in this webinar. Our sincere thanks to all the members of Bombay Catholic Sabha under the able leadership of Advocate Rafael D'Souza for all their support for the success of this WebEx meeting. Last but not the least, dear participants, without your wholehearted involvement and support, this program would not have taken place. Therefore, I render my sincere thanks to each one of you. Thank you, Alphonse Kennedy, the National Coordinator for Dalit Desk in All India Catholic Union, for moderating the session in an excellent manner. I conclude this seminar with the hope of better collaboration in future for establishing the just kingdom of our God the Almighty. I once again thank you all for giving me this opportunity of being with you. May God bless each one of us. Thank you.